The Secrets of Doctor Who is brought to you by the Star Quest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
One day, I shall come back.
That's it. I've been renewed.
Is when a Time Lord's body wears out, he regenerates.
I'm a Time Lord. I'm not a human being. I walk in eternity.
Bravehearty.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding.
Physician healers. Wearing a bit thin.
Fantastic.
I am Scottish. I can complain about things.
Ta-da! Ooh. Should be fine.
Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Doctor Who, where we discuss everything about the hit BBC series, Doctor Who. And today we're discussing the 11th Doctor story, The Curse of the Black Spot. Joining me today on the panel are Jimmy Aiken. Hi, Jimmy.
Yeah, whatever.
And Father Cory Stiga. Hi, Father Cory.
How's it going, Dom?
Yes, very well. A somewhat forgettable episode, which I didn't remember until we had to do it again.
Oh, I remembered it. I commented that when we last did number 11's episode, the second part of the two-parter, and saw the preview for this one, it's like, oh, I forgot this was even an episode. I mean, literally, I'd forgotten this episode even existed at all. Clearly,
the Pirates of the Caribbean is big. We should do a pirate episode.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is, to recap, quickly, the TARDIS ends up on a pirate ship that's becalmed and being menaced by some
space thing,
siren, etc. Now, the captain of this ship, the ship is called the Fancy. The captain's Captain Henry Avery. They're actually mentioned in a first Doctor story called The Smugglers.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of that, they were the Doctor, or not, the people that the Doctor has encountered were going to see Avery about his treasure. So that's what that's the tie-in. I didn't know about that tie-in before I've been looking up this one.
That's definitely a going very deep into the history of Doctor Who for them to pull that one out. But of course, that's Stephen Moffat loved doing stuff like that. So
yes, that's right. There is also apparently an online-only prequel or teaser scene for this, which was you were kind of getting a tour of the ship full of treasure with a voiceover by Captain Avery talking about the ship being stranded, becalmed, etc., and being menaced. So there was a little scene like that.
They did that one season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the basic premises, as we see this, in the teaser, is when a sailor on the ship, any of the sailors, gets any kind of cut, a black spot appears on his palm, and it means, quote unquote, he will definitely die. I mean, that's sort of
he's cursed.
He's cursed, yes.
And the way that manifests is he starts to hear this siren woman who glows green, and she appears, and then he becomes an idiot and becomes infatuated with her and touches her and vanishes in a puff of smoke.
Yes, it looks like, and we're to understand that it's like he's disintegrated somehow. So it's classic misdirection at several points. As we go through this, we'll see. And then as soon as we get this first one disappears, that's when the Doctor, Rory, and Amy show up in the hold of the ship. Basically, they're found in the hold.
And there's an actual decent moment for like 2 sentences there where the Doctor, so this episode, because it's got pirates and it's the period of television it is, they want to have fun with it. And so they're going to juxtapose comedy and drama. And the Doctor pops out and in the cheesiest fashion possible says, yo ho ho. And when no one reacts, he says, or does nobody actually say that? And that actually is funny. That got to give him that. That is funny.
Yeah. there are a couple of moments where they kind of play off of our expectations of cliches about pirates. So and some of them, they actually just go ahead with the cliche, and others they don't.
Painfully so,
But,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But sometimes it's actually like that. It's kind of funny. So another one that happens is this doctor says, "We're sailors, same as you. Ooh, are." Except for the gun thing and the beardiness, which I thought was actually that was kind of funny. Was the pointing out that the pirates all had beards. That was a good one too.
Well, then that's kind of understandable if they're out at ocean for sometimes months. They're probably not going to worry about shaving,
especially if you're pitching on a deck.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure I want a straight razor near my neck while the deck is going back and forth.
It's one thing to shave if you're on a big modern ocean cruise liner that has stabilizers. Even that can be a little tricky, but with a straight razor on a tiny pitching vessel, no thanks.
Exactly.
The pirates don't understand the doctor's explanation that the TARDIS detected their ship in distress and brought them automatically, so they make them walk the plank, which is another cliche.
Another cliche. They just got to get the walking the plank thing in there.
Yep.
Also, the detecting a ship in distress seems to be something they kind of drop and then deal with later in the episode. They're not conclusive about this, but this is a ship in the 1600s, and so it has no distress signal. But they later detect another ship that's occupying the same space as this one that does have a distress signal, and I took it as that's what the TARDIS was really responding to.
And I think that's pretty much what they say at the end of the episode is the TARDIS saw the stress signal, this future, the spaceship, and said, "Oh, let's land right next to it."
Although the Doctor seemed sort of nonplussed, didn't faze him that the TARDIS would take him to a non-technologically advanced ship in distress in time somewhere.
Which you can cite as a flaw in the writing, because he should have said, well, wait, where's the distress signal we picked up?
Yeah.
Right. Or the TARDIS just knew about a time event where he should be.
Yeah.
Where something unusual happening. I guess. I don't know. The whole, how the TARDIS knows things, it's sort of nebulous.
We'll hit that next episode hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, in a much better episode.
Yeah.
So Amy, meanwhile, she's going to be kept as a cook, servant, and whatnot.
Oh no, even worse than that.
Yeah,
so,
the word doxy means basically a prostitute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that is one of the meanings of
she
doxy.
would be cooking. She would be cooking, but yeah.
There is more than one meaning for doxy, but that is definitely one, and that fits this context, and it fits Rory's objection that she's not a doxy.
Right.
But the explanation is a little weird, because they're gonna have the Doctor and Rory walk the plank, so because they're running low on water, and they don't want to have to share their water with anybody else, because they're in the middle of the ocean. They don't have a lot of drinkable water, but they're going to keep Amy because they perceive her as a doxy, and so they're sending her below, and she discovers a chest full of bladed weapons. And instead of doing the smart thing and grabbing a weapon and running back up on deck, she grabs a weapon and then dons pirate garb before running back on deck. And this is just so they can get visuals of Amy in pirate garb swinging a cutlass, even though it makes no sense for her to do that.
Suddenly, which she, by the way, is suddenly an expert at using, or at least seeming like it.
No, she's just swinging that sword around.
Well, I know that. I know that. But
the reason that she is as effective as she is they're all terrified of the sword, because they know the slightest nick and you're dead. And she doesn't realize that. In fact, she cuts a guy and is like, what? I just scratched him. No big deal.
Yes.
But this is more of the same kind of humor that we're going to get in the awfuler Town Called Mercy episode, where it's in the Old West, and and we have the TARDIS crew using guns incompetently, and so here we have the same kind of lame humor, which is Amy using a sword incompetently. This episode, unlike A Town Called Mercy, this episode is not aggressively bad, it's just lame.
Right. Yeah, and the whole point of, and we should point out, the whole point of all these swords being in the chest, we find out later, is that idea that anything sharp has been pushed away, like put away, so that no one can accidentally, harm themselves on these things. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, there is this weirdness about Amy, like in the midst of this peril to Rory and the Doctor, there's also, she just wants to kind of dress up and have fun. And it's if this was how someone really was, it's sort of it's weird. It would that's a bad personality trait, that you would be having fun in the midst of while someone's about to die.
And they keep doing this to Amy, where she just goes off her meds, basically. I mean, I hate to use any other way, but I mean, it's just she just all of a sudden they throw something like this in there, and like you would say, Jimmy, this is bad writing on that to give this personality where all of a sudden she's gleefully swinging this sword around, pretending she's a pirate.
Or is this evidence of being a ganger?
No. No, it's Amy's
headcanon not accepted.
We saw this from the beginning.
Amy's personality is in control of this ganger.
Yeah, right. Well, so not only does the pirate, the pirate guy, I forget what his name was. It was a fun name, but I forget. But not only does the pirate get cut, but Rory gets cut in the midst of this whole swinging the sword around thing. And then the siren appears. They start acting drunk again.
Yeah. So we have our sacrificial pirate character to show us the threat to the character we're supposed to care about, which is Rory. Mm-hmm. And
right.
So now that the pirate has apparently disintegrated, we've got to play keep away with Rory. And whenever this, especially now, initially the siren isn't there, and he starts acting like an idiot. I mean, the captain even comments that it makes fools out of them. And so he's being silly. He's doing some comedic things, but then when the siren shows up, he really he goes gaga for her and wants to touch her, and we have to play this game of keep away. And eventually he sobers up when the siren is not there, which is good, and I guess he sobers up for reasons. But then, whenever the siren shows up, they have to play keep away with him, and that's just frustrating on the writing level. They had a major character hit way soon in the plot in a way that makes us play this lame game of keep away for the rest of the episode with him.
And it doesn't make sense. Why couldn't they have saved any of the others the same way? By keeping them tied up, for instance, or something.
Well, and then, of course, they have to have the whole relationship thing between Amy and Rory, where he says, under the effect of the siren, that she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, and she throws it right back in his face later on when he's sobered up.
Yeah.
It's just like, and of course, that's again played for laughs. It's like, hold on,
Yeah,
I wasn't in control of his faculties then.
I have in my notes Amy petulantly resenting Rory being bewitched.
Right.
It's like, come on, cut him some slack. It's not his fault. I do like, there is a nice bit here in this sequence, though, where the Doctor makes a reference to Sigmund Freud and asks the pirates if they've ever met Sigmund Freud, and it's like, well, no, he's not going to live for 3 centuries. But
right.
But when the Doctor realizes, oh yeah, you wouldn't have, he says, "Comfy sofa," and he kind of stretches his head back, indicating the Doctor has lain on Sigmund Freud's couch and has presumably received treatment from Sigmund Freud.
Right. Amy does stand up to the green siren, and who turns red. She goes from Jedi to Sith in an instant and turns red and blasts Amy back for standing up to her. The Doctor has a line here where he says, "Oh, okay, just like a shark in a dress and singing. And a green singing shark in an evening gown." So that was kind of amusing to me. The captain then says, this is where we get the line, the ship is cursed. And the Doctor retorts, "Curses are big with humans, but it's just bad things happening, and you can't be bothered to find an explanation." Jimmy, what say you about curses?
We recently did an episode of Mysterious World on curses, so you can listen to that to hear what I have to say.
Okay, good. I knew I had to get that in there.
But there's an element of truth in what the Doctor says, but not it's not the complete story.
Yes. They discover or realize or think that she can appear anywhere there's a drop of water. which one I go, too bad human beings are bags of water with perspiration and mucous membranes and all that.
Ugly bag of mostly water. Yeah. And if she can emerge from a drop, I mean, how does that work?
Yeah.
She's human sized. How does she come out of a drop?
Yeah.
They could at least say she needs something big enough to come out of.
Well, they were even just in a hole that had water in it, and so their clothes contain drops of water. Their shoes are covered in drops of water.
The surfaces of their eyes contain drops of water and reflections.
Exactly. They end up hiding in the ship's magazine, which I think that's as good because the ship's magazine would have been absolutely dry. The downside is you don't have lanterns in the ship's magazine. Because fire and gunpowder, bad. Exactly. I mean, I mean, you would have had like a special lantern. They had special lanterns to take into the magazine that would contain the fire, but they had like multiple open flames. So
yeah, they also had a barrel of water for reasons in the magazine, which they shouldn't have had.
Right.
And
because it has to be dry.
One other thing they shouldn't have had in there is the captain's typhoidic son, who is a stowaway.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And doesn't know his father is a pirate.
Even though he's been on this ship for at least, a week. And they said they've been becalmed for 8 days. So you figure at least a couple of weeks that they've been
at sea.
Yeah. By the way,
this is the weakest part of the story to me. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we should explain for people who may not know what becalmed is. That means they don't have any wind. So the ship is calm. In English, when you have a verb of the form be something, like benighted is, well, you're darkened in your mind, or bewitched, you've been affected by a witch. If you're becalmed, your ship is stuck because the wind is too calm.
Yep. Right. Yes. Sailing ships in the era of sailing often had to deal with long periods stuck in places where there was no wind, which they tried to avoid very often. Yeah. They try to stick to the trade routes, but
or they'd get affected by dead water, which is a different but similar phenomenon.
Right, you had wind, but the water wouldn't let you go.
Yeah.
I was going to say before that the whole thing of the captain's son, I just felt like that was a very weak attempt to create an emotional attachment, an emotional lesson on the story. That he's not really just a pirate captain. He's just a Navy sailor who got on bad times and went a little bad, and his son is going to bring him back, by his love and devotion. Yeah. And I'm like,
it's very cliche.
And it's not believable at all that this kid would be able to do this.
Yeah. Also, it's very not believable. And they jack up the drama by having the mother has just died, and the father promised the mother he would come back, and the mother has said that the pirate captain is a noble naval officer, which he apparently was, and then went pirate. And the kid is way too young. Now, you can correct me, Dom, but it seems to me the kid is way too young to instantly ask the question, what made you turn pirate? Upon just having learned your father's a pirate when you never suspected that. Right. That's a level of abstraction I don't expect a kid of this age. He's going to be dealing with the shock. I mean, Luke Skywalker was in his 20s, and he's like, no, that's impossible for, longer than this kid was.
On the other hand, too, why is this kid surprised? I mean, it's not like this ship looks like a British naval vessel or pirate ships are not run like British naval vessels.
Well, and this is where they missed an opportunity here. If they wanted to go in this direction, they could have done it better, because there were British naval officers that were essentially pirates under cover of law. Yep. Admiral Nelson was one of them. They could have had Captain Avery is his name.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They could have said, okay, he is a naval officer, and he's got letters of marque and reprisal, that he's been granted by the government to go after the Queen's enemies. And so he's both a naval officer and a pirate, and he's a much more interesting, ambiguous character.
Right. Exactly. That would have been a better way of doing it. I don't know why. It's not that much more to do that. So, yeah. It turns out because he has typhoid, he has the spot on his hand too.
The sun.
But the sun. And because he's in the magazine where there's no water, apparently, including anything he's been drinking. Anyway, he hasn't been taken. It turns out it's not the blood itself. The doctor keeps coming up with these theories, and they keep being wrong. So at first they thought it was blood that was drawing the siren in, like a shark in water. But then it's like, no, because there's no blood, cuts on the boy, so it must be weakness or illness. And the doctor, again, has this line, says, it's not a curse. Curse means game over. Curse means we're helpless. We're not helpless, he says here. The doctor and the captain, now, they're going to go for the TARDIS, which is what they should have done in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure why not everybody's going for the TARDIS, just the captain. And I don't know why they're going alone.
I think the idea is they're because Rory has been exposed, and so has the son, and so they're keeping them in the magazine so they can be safe. And I think they're going to move the TARDIS using the uninjured people. Okay. And they leave a couple of uninjured people with them, members of the pirate crew, who then decide to mutiny because the captain has gone soft. Which I didn't understand at all. How is the captain being soft? He's saving your lives.
Right.
But the doctor and the captain, being uninjured, go for the TARDIS, and I think they're going to bring it back, but then events happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, the mutiny part was just, hey, we need to have this because, that's like part of a pirate thing, and, we need to ramp up the drama even more because we're already at 11, so we got to go to 12 now with the drama.
We have to have the twist. The Avery, the captain, intuits how the TARDIS flies, or at least the basics of it.
That's cool. I liked that, where he's like, okay, this is the equivalent of an astrolabe, this is the equivalent of a wheel. He's identifying things in the TARDIS as, in terms of their function, based on what would be part of a 17th century ship. And that I like. Now, they then carry it way over the top by the end of the episode, where he is actually pirating a futuristic spaceship. Which, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. Identifying something's basic function is one thing. Having a detailed knowledge of how to run and repair it is totally something else.
Well, heck, I could identify the functions of the controls in an F-35 fighter jet. I ain't going to fly it. There's no way I'm going to be able to fly it. Yeah, and this is even a bigger leap. So the
TARDIS conveniently won't work.
It's becalmed too.
Yeah, not just will it not work, it's all of a sudden going to decide to take off on its own, and they abandon ship.
TARDIS separation.
Yep.
Yeah. The boy, meanwhile, is being disabused of the notion that his father is an evil captain, and scratches one of the pirates who tries to leave, on purpose, in order so that he can't leave. Another crewman does try to run off, but is then off screen, hurts himself somehow, and is taken. And at that point, the doctor realizes it's not water she's coming through, but reflections. So anything that can reflect, including water, but also all the treasure on board, the jewels and the gold.
The polished metal. And they're setting up an element of the captain's personality here. They're going to tell us that by the end, the reason he turned pirate was he couldn't give up the gold. And so to illustrate that for us, you've got one of the mutinying crew members has a tiny bit of the treasure with him and a gun, and has been shooting at the captain and the doctor. And the captain insists on pursuing the shooty mutineer crew member to get back his treasure. And I'm going, this is not believable, because if someone is shooting a gun at you and any wound is going to be fatal, you do not, even just the fact it's a gun without the added siren guaranteed fatality thing,
right?
You can part with a little bit of your treasure and let the guy get away.
Right. And at this point, the doctor, in order to ramp up that whole, like, the greedy dragon horde, gold sickness, I'm Thor and Oakenshield moment here, the doctor says, all the treasure has to be thrown overboard, every single bit of it. And I'm thinking, pirates have, treasure chests, don't they? Bags? Shove it in the dark?
Yeah.
She can't come
Cover
through?
it over? Yeah.
It's just, again, it's bad writing. It's not believable.
And then the doctor decides we just need to wait. And he says, wait, I admit it's not my most dynamic plan. And I'm going, yeah, it's not. And now, and now I, the viewer, have to suffer through this.
Yes, the writer basically admitting that he's got no idea how to really go to the next part of the plot.
Yeah. Now we can have moments of low action. In fact, there need in an action adventure series. There need to be moments of low action where the characters are what's carrying the plot. And we watch. Okay, how are our favorite characters reacting to this situation, and that's the thing of interest. We watch them go through the emotional dynamics of adjusting to the situation they're in and preparing for the situation they're about to face. But that requires us to care about the characters.
Right.
and I don't, because they don't have intelligible emotional reactions that aren't just cliches.
Mm-hmm.
So next we have while they're waiting, they're sleeping, and Amy awakes to see Eye Patch Lady that we saw before in the with the silence.
Madame Cavarian. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. She's looking through a hatch in the side of the ship, telling her to stay calm, and then closing this hatch. And Amy is understandably perplexed. Doesn't say anything to anybody still. Not sure why.
Of course not.
But so we're continuing the season story arc. So there's a whole thing where we have this discussion of Avery being this respected naval officer who, with wife and son at home, to become a pirate roaming the seas. And the Doctor says that he too roams space, and it's better to do it with someone. I think he's trying to, create this reconciliation with the son or something like that. Kind of it's it's not very well done.
Also, what's not really well done is the thing they're waiting for is wind. And a storm starts. Okay.
Very quickly.
Very quickly. It's got some wind, so that's good. It's also got a bunch of rain. And so they're up on the deck, and because now all the water is turbulent because of the rain and the wind, and so the siren won't show up from a reflection, they think. Yep. And so they're all up on the deck, and the captain is shouting orders. And they're the classic, nautical piratey orders. He tells Amy and Rory to man the sails. Okay, fine. But then he says, "Avast ye." And it's like, do you know what avast ye means? Avast means stop.
Right.
So he just told them to man the sails, and then he tells them immediately to stop. And that makes no sense. So this is just the writer not really understanding pirate jargon, or nautical jargon, I should say, but because it's stereotypical things a pirate would say, he's just got to shove them all in, whether they make sense or not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's first. It's to the rigging, you dogs. Let go the sails. Avast. It could be that he's saying, go to the rigging. No, wait. Put the bunt in the slack of the clews and heave on the sheets.
It does not come across in a sensible way.
No, it doesn't.
Let's take a lot of nautical sounding words and throw them together, and it's going to make sense, right?
Well, and then he wants this compass for some reason in the middle of the storm, because there isn't a giant compass in front of the helm on nearly every ship that they put there. That's the helmsman has a giant compass set in front of him,
so he can know which way they're going.
Right. Stay on course. But no, he needs the pocket compass in his coat down below. So that's all in service of getting the kid to go down and get his coat in which he has shoved the crown that he didn't want to throw away, the last bit of treasure. And it falls out, and the siren comes aboard and takes the boy.
And in my notes, kid killed, therefore they're all not dead.
Right, exactly.
Because if the kid can't be dead, and so if the kid's not dead, none of the other people who've been taken are dead. Just lost the drama. It's meant to ramp up the drama because, oh no, a kid just died. But I don't believe that a kid just died on a family show, so not in this way. And so that means none of these people are dead.
Well, and that's where then it makes the logic switch of Rory falling overboard and the Doctor sending the siren after Rory. Because they can't, because what you just said, Jimmy, they can't all be dead. So therefore, she can save him.
Yeah.
Therefore, the Doctor must realizes that if the kid's not dead, because we can't kill kids on my show, we're gonna send her after Rory.
Yeah. There's just so much to not like here. First of all, now that the crown has emerged, the Doctor tells the captain, well, that's what made you turn pirate. You couldn't give up the gold.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, this is a blunt object lesson in more than one sense.
Right.
It involves a blunt object, but it's also bluntly told. And so I don't like that. Then Rory is a nurse and he's drowning. He doesn't know how to swim, really. The doctor and Amy don't know how to swim. The captain doesn't. Nobody knows how to swim, so you can't jump in and save
it's
Rory.
a storm.
It's a storm.
Well, then how do you?
I mean, it
how do
doesn't
you
look-
know he's drowning. If
Right.
I mean, the sea doesn't look that bad, but
If it were like on a movie set and you had real storm waves, then I'd buy it. But this is like you're in a wave pool on a studio lot, and it's a lot of wind and rain, but there's no waves. It's just it's kind
the
of
deck's not pitching. There's not, it doesn't look like this massive storm in the middle of the ocean. It just looks like a lot of wind and rain.
The bigger danger immediately would, because you can ride waves. The bigger danger would be the waves are going to slam you into the side of the ship and you'll die from blunt force trauma. In terms of a quick death.
Yeah.
But you could survive for some minutes and maybe get back on board given the level of violence that were shown here.
Yeah.
But then they decide not only do we need to get the siren back and send her after Rory, we all need to prick our fingers so we can all go to the same place.
Yes, that is a big leap of faith.
Inadequately set up.
Right. Yeah, and so they all do. They prick their fingers, and turns out that there's a spaceship in a parallel dimension that intersects with the space-time location of the pirate ship, and they're locked together somehow. And this is the ship that was in distress that the TARDIS detected. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the crew of this out of phase ship are all dead. And it turns out now the doctor, Amy, and the captain all wake up on what looks like maybe the bridge or the observation deck of this ship.
Right.
And then they go back into the medical bay, and it turns out that
it's Michael Crichton's coma.
Yeah. It looks like that.
Yeah.
But the siren is a medical application. It's basically the EMH.
It's the MH. Yep. Please state the nature of your siren emergency.
Yeah. And it's adapted itself, even though the original aliens, we can tell from their skeletons, were sort of pteranodon rat men, based on the way their heads are shaped. They've got these rodent-like incisors, but pteranodon fins on the back of their heads. The EMH has adapted itself to be human. Since it's interacting with humans now, it senses the injured humans, it brings them here, but it has no idea how to fix them, so it's just maintaining them. Okay, fine. Why aren't the doctor, Amy, and the captain all in stasis? They all just injured themselves.
Yes. Right. Big hole.
Among others.
Yes. It turns out the black spot is where a tissue sample was taken from them, I guess, for reasons. Amy gets there's a lot of mumbo jumbo. Amy gets the siren to release Rory into her care. She has to sign the HIPAA form that designates her as
and first she's got the doctor wants Amy to, so Rory can't survive without the machine he's hooked up to. He was apparently
because he's drowning.
And this makes no sense because he tells Amy that what they need to do, because he doesn't want to stay in this thing for the rest of his life. So he tells Amy, get me disconnected and then use
CPR,
artificial respiration and CPR to bring me back from the brink of death, which of course is going to be drama for Amy. And why do I have to do it? Why can't it be the doctor? But because I know you won't give up. And so that's the plan. But then the doctor needs to broker this deal with the EMH, and he says, show her your ring, your wedding ring, as if an alien EMH is going to recognize that custom. And and then, having proved that she's next of kin, this golden ring of light appears around the EMH's hand, and the doctor just intuits that that's the consent form.
Right.
And Amy needs to put her hand in it to confirm consent.
Wedding rings, by the way, are like an 80-year-old custom, like as a everyone wears one sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even, or at least diamond rings are. It doesn't make sense. The by the way, the TARDIS had turned up inside this treatment room where all the pirates
it was
are.
Sick too, I guess.
I guess.
And we're told if you don't leave now, you can never leave for reasons that are not explained.
Right. Well, the whole idea that the thing can only sustain them in this just alive state, but can't heal them, again, also doesn't make any sense. Because if Rory's drowning, then to stop him from drowning, you need to take the things out of the water out of his lungs, and then he's no longer drowning.
And that's apparently been done because he can talk. If his lungs were full of water, he couldn't talk.
Exactly.
Right. So disconnecting the thing puts the water back? Like, it just there's no sense in it.
Well, what about the guys who they literally just had like a scratch on their finger? You
Right.
think that would just heal itself and they'd be fine?
Yeah, just disconnect them. They're not going to die.
Humans do that? Yeah. They're not going to die because of a scratch, and
well,
humans heal scratches all the time.
In fact, I think that's what happens in this, because they can all get disconnected, but the boy can't be disconnected because of the typhoid fever, and they don't have any way to cure that. And
Not
the
even
siren
on the
can't.
TARDIS, apparently.
Apparently, and I do like. There's no thought given to the idea that well, we're going to have to leave and the boy's going to die. Like, there's not even brought up that the idea that they would let the boy die. So, and that's why the Avery and all the pirates stay on board this alien ship.
I interpreted it as the boy is going to die, and the father decided to stay with him until he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's still connected to the apparatus at the end.
Yeah, he still has like the neck.
Okay.
The neck thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, in that case, he's, I guess, being maintained, and the father decided to stay with him.
Right.
And go explore the stars instead of exploring the ocean. Or
they went to the Dog
stars
Star. Yeah. Yep. Now, this whole thing about Rory wanted Amy to do the resuscitation because she wouldn't give up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Except she does. She gives up.
Yeah, it's that I guess I can cut that line some slack, but really the doctor wouldn't give up any much quicker than Amy.
Yeah.
Although you have the lovely delayed response to the CPR, and it's a whole 30 seconds after she stops chest compression that he suddenly revitalizes. It doesn't work that way. That's not how this works.
In my notes, Rory dies again, so there's our Rory dying trope.
Yes.
Yep.
Amy seemingly fails in order to juice drama, then he revives spontaneously.
Yep.
Let's just give a PSA here. If you're doing CPR, artificial resuscitation on people, you don't stop until they're back and or a doctor tells you to stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Like just if you're ever, don't expect someone to just spontaneously start breathing again after you've stopped doing CPR. Just that's a bad thing that they showed people in this episode.
That's actually almost negligent, because like it literally is something where you could be doing it for minutes,
20 minutes,
number of minutes, 20 minutes, and finally the body will restart. But it's as they're doing the compressions and the breathing, not I'm going to take a break now. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, it's not going to happen that way. So don't do that.
I'm almost shocked they didn't do the live, start pounding on the chest like you see in so many stupid movies.
Yes, yeah, right. So at the end, we have Amy and the doctor are both concerned about each other. Amy, of course, is thinking that knowing that the doctor is going to be at the Lake Silencio and dying there, and the doctor being concerned because his sensors say that she's both pregnant and not pregnant at the same time. And so they're both worrying about each other, but not talking to each other because
it's both Schrodinger's pregnancy and Chekhov's pregnancy.
Yeah, right. But I one of the weakest ways of sustaining drama or sustaining a story arc is I'm not going to talk to you about this thing that's bothering me. I just hate that sort of thing. If only you would talk to each other in a calm, rational, reasonable way, all this would be fixed very quickly. But of course, we can't fix things.
Also, we haven't done anything more than remind the audience of these two things. Nothing happens here to advance those plots. And that also is a sign of bad writing. just cramming this in so that the audience doesn't forget from week to week that this is going on, but they're not doing anything to advance the plot. I mean, give me something new about these.
Yes.
And then a man from the 1600s flies a starship.
Right. We didn't explicitly talk
With
about that,
his
but yeah. That's just completely not believable. Any last thoughts? Any last notes about this episode, Father Cory?
This will probably be an episode that the next time I watch it in about 15 years, I forgot about this one.
Right. Jimmy?
I remembered this one, but I remembered not liking it, and my memory was accurate. I have my final note is paint by numbers, cliched writing. Interestingly, there is an English country dance tune called the Doctor Who Pirate Jig. And I can't help wondering if it's based somehow on the incidental music in this episode. So I'm going to have to. I know the people involved. I'm going to have to ask: is this where that came from? Because it does not sound like the main Doctor Who theme.
That's funny.
That is funny. Yeah, my last thought is this might have been improved with the inclusion of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, and that's actually saying something. So,
yeah, it's like, let's do Pirates of the Caribbean without the most interesting character.
Exactly. All right, so let's wrap things up here. We're taking a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create The Secrets of Doctor Who, including Rhea B., Jack D., James D., Renee J., and Daryl F. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue The Secrets of Doctor Who and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. We'd also like to thank Victor Lambs, who edits the show for us every week. So that's it from us. What did you think of The Curse of the Black Spot? Did you like it better than we did? There's an episode out there for everyone, and I will definitely politely disagree on things, but I want to hear from you if you like this one, and tell us why. So you can do that by commenting on the show at sqpn.com or the Secrets of Doctor Who Facebook page, or send an email to drwho@sqpn.com. We'll be back next time when we'll be discussing the first Doctor story, The Romans. Hello, Nero. Until then, Father Cory Stika, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of Doctor Who.
Thank you, Dom.
Jimmy Aiken, thank you as well.
Thanks, Dom.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Doctor Who on StarQuest. And remember, I suppose that laughing like that's in the job description. Can you do the laugh? Check. Grab yourself a parrot. Welcome aboard.
Right. This is going to be fun.